All right, how's everybody? Are you guys ready to stretchletic? Okay, we're going to start in a forward bend and go through kind of the usual things, work a little bit on some deadlifting patterns and see how far we get. All right, here it is. A little bit wider stance, about the width of your yoga mat. Pigeon toe your feet and start to contract your quads, straighten your knees, and then shift your weight forward toward the ball of your foot and let everything else relax. We'll hold it here for about 2 minutes. All right, good. For the next one, start to bend your knees. We're going to go between the forward bend and the squat. So as you bend your knees, you're going to feel your chest connect to your thighs. Continue until you go all the way down to your deepest squat. And then start to re-straighten your knees, trying to keep your chest pressed back against your thigh until you wind up again in your deepest forward bend. All right, so we're going to go up and down. Try and keep that thigh-chest connection for as much of the movement as possible. Nothing you need to rush through. Go slowly and take your time. All right, good. Next time that you come into your squatting position, let's go squatting to standing and then standing back to squatting. So for this one, press down into your heels, straighten your knees, keep your head and shoulders over your hips at all time. As you bend back down into a squat, sit your hips back. You can reach your hands forward a little bit. We'll go up and down. Make sure that as you start to bend your knees, that your knees are pointed in the same direction as your toes. The tendency, of course, is that your toes go out and the knees go in. So just watch that, and if it's more comfortable for you to have a stance with your toes turned down a little bit, just do your work to press your knees out in that same direction. All right, good. Next time that you come into your squat, let's stay there and do it like a squatting version of child's pose. So when you get into it, hands forward, head down, hips back. And if you feel like forward bending and squatting is difficult for you, reach your hands out and bring your head down a little bit more forward, reaching then backwards. If you feel like your low back is tight, causes you some aches and pains, place your hands down and pull back away from your hands so that you get a little bit of that stretch in the low back. And even so, you can wiggle your hips a bit back and forth so that you can really target that tight side. All right, we're going to hold it here for just over a minute left. All right, next one's come into a kneeling position, a hero pose, ideally with your knees together and your feet apart. You can sit between your heels. If that's not available, just sit on your heels. And we'll do it with a little bit of multitasking, so we're going to twist. If you have a tight side that you have difficulty twisting to, stay twisting to the tight side the whole time. If both sides have their own little difficult reasons, one is the low back, maybe one is the shoulders, we're going to go 50-50 on both sides, everybody else. So drop your left hand or elbow across your right knee, and then use your arms to turn your chest open to the side. Just make sure that you don't twist yourself out of your kneeling pose. Keep both hips down. We'll hold it here for just about 30 more seconds. All right, if you're on that tight side and you're staying, stay there. 1 more minute. Everybody else, we're going to twist to the left. And now drop your right elbow or hand across your knee, and then use your arms to turn your chest open to the side. Both hips down. And whenever you twist, your back should be a little rounded. Your spine should be in a slight flexion rather than extension. So we'll hold it here for about 30 more seconds. Good. Come back to the middle, stand up on your knees and switch your feet. So your toes are curled under. And you want to get all 10 toes in extension. So you can even check to make sure your pinky toe is curled under. And then inch your knees forward so that you feel a good stretch on the bottom of your feet. Once you're seated and comfortable, let's work on a little bit of shoulder movement. So we're going to go with a chest stretch first, shoulder blade retraction. Open your chest, squeeze your shoulder blades together, and then catch your fingers in the back. If you can, straighten your elbows, and then finally press your palms together. Don't try and lift your hands up. Keep your fingers pointed down, and just simply work on squeezing your shoulder blades in toward your spine. We're going to hold it here for about 30 more seconds. All right, good. Next one, take a hold of your knees with your fingertips and then pull your chest back away from your hands. You should feel your shoulder blades spread apart. Your chest should hollow. And at the same time, drop your shoulders in a downward direction toward your hips. And we'll hold it here for the remaining time, about 45 seconds or so. All right, next one, let's come into a glute bridge. Lie down on your back. Make sure that your stance is long enough so that your feet are out of reach, and your stance is wide enough so that your feet are about mat width or wider, with your toes pointed out about 10 or 15 degrees. And then from here, lift your hips only as high as the diagonal line between your knee and your shoulder, which is not very high. And point your pubic bone toward your chest, your tailbone toward the back of your knees. You should feel your glutes engage right away. You can squeeze and exaggerate that sensation, and then roll down from the upper part of your spine towards your middle back, and finally your low back. Go really slow, keep your glutes engaged. Once you feel your low back press down, pause. Don't let your hips or your butt touch. Squeeze your abs, squeeze your glutes, and hold. And then reverse it by lifting the lower part of your spine first toward the middle and upper back until you get back into that same diagonal line. All right, let's continue. Repeat that motion, and we'll do this for the remaining time. Just about a minute left. right, good. And rock yourself all the way up into a standing position. Let's work on a single leg deadlift. So basically what we're going to do, we're going to stay on one side. Let's start with your left foot grounded and your right leg moving back. And what we're going to do is bend down as if you drop something right next to your left foot. Yes, you can bend your knee. As you do that, step your right foot back in space. It can be up in the air or your toes can touch down for balance. And then from here, stand up as quickly as you can, almost as if you're pulling up a really long sock or a pant. And we're going to go up and down like that, only on the left side for the next minute. All right, bend down slowly, right next to your foot, and then stand up quickly. All right, good. That's about time. So now let's change legs. Give you a second here to set yourself up. Now it's going to be your right leg that's stable, left leg that's moving back in space. We're only going to go for a minute. So as you bend forward, left leg goes back, bend slow, and stand up fast. Keep a little bend in your right knee, that's just fine. As quickly and as powerfully as you can, try and use your glutes that you were just working on engaging in that glute bridge. All right, so that's about time. For this next one, we're going to do some lunging. And when you lunge, you're going to step, let's start with the right side. You're going to step your right foot forward and then lower your left knee. Again, we're going to go down slowly, 4 or 5 count, and then step back to your start position as quickly as you can. Only stepping the right leg. We're going to go for 1 minute. Starting now. Right leg forward. Left knee down. 4, 3, 2, touch, step back. Just like that. Keep going. All right, good enough. Let's change sides. So now your right leg is static and you're going to step with your left foot. 4, 3, 2, 1, and back. Keep going. right, good. And for the next one, let's take a long stance, low lunge with your tighter leg, hip, and back. So the leg that has the tight hip flexors, area with the tighter low back, that should be your back leg. Step your looser side in front, or take a really long stance with both hands inside of your front foot leg. And we're gonna hold it here for about 2 minutes. So as we're here, you want to keep this a very active stretch. In order to do that, you got to engage your back leg glutes. So squeeze your butt, point your pubic bone toward your chest, just like you did in the glute bridge, and point your tailbone down toward the floor. At the same time, you want to avoid your spinal extension because that would be compensating for your unwillingness to extend your hip. So you want to reduce spinal extension, and you're going to do that by engaging your abs. Engage your abs, engage your glutes. We're going to hold it here for just over another minute. If it's hard for you to keep that steady contraction, consciously contract for at least 5 to 10 seconds, and then relax for 2 or 3 seconds, and repeat. 1 more minute. All right, good. If you have this side that's really incredibly tight and you just want to stay on the tight side, that's fine. You can stay there. This will help balance your body out. But if you feel like, both sides have a little bit of tightness, just one more than the other, you can change legs. And let's get the looser side now for a minute. Same thing. Both hands to the inside of your front foot, strong glutes, strong abs. Do your pulse contraction if it helps. We'll hold it here for the remaining time, just over 45 seconds. Good. Next one, if you have your tight leg in front, just shift your weight over to your front leg hip. If not, then change legs. So we want the tighter leg in front now, and your heel lined up with your midline, your navel, and from here your knees should be bent at about 90 degrees. You stay seated on that front leg hip, and we're going to go into a little bit of an unconventional single leg pigeon. So while we're here, 2 minutes on the tighter side, place your elbows to the inside of your front leg and pull your chest, even better, pull the bottom of your ribs forward toward the front side of your mat. And the more now spinal extension you can do, the deeper the sensation in the outside of the hip. So rather than rounding your back, try and straighten it out a little bit and keep pulling forward. And we'll hold it here for the remaining time, about 90 seconds. All right, let's switch it. Only if you feel like it's worthy to work on your looser side. If you want to stay on that tight side, it's just fine. But if you are switching, we're just going to go for a minute on the looser side. Make sure that you're pretty much set up in the same way. Your heel midline, your knee bent at about 90 degrees. Stay seated on your front leg hip and start to inch your way forward toward the inside of the sole of your foot. A lot of pulling. Pull your ribs.